The year was 2004. On the day after Christmas, a truly terrible event unfolded. Deep beneath the Indian Ocean, the very foundations of our planet shifted with a violent shudder. This colossal earthquake unleashed a series of monstrous waves. These waves, known as a tsunami, raced across the ocean at jet speed, silent and almost invisible in the deep water, then approaching shallow coastlines, growing into towering walls of water. Indonesia, Thailand, India, bringing unimaginable destruction and sorrow. A catastrophe on a global scale. News reports poured in from around the world, entire towns wiped from the map. The sheer force of the water was breathtaking, utterly devastating. Buildings were flattened, boats were tossed about like toys, landscapes were forever changed in minutes. The human cost was the most heartbreaking part. Hundreds of thousands of lives were lost. Millions more were left without homes, without family, and without hope. A stark, brutal reminder of nature's immense power. Yet amidst the tragedy, a remarkable story emerged. From a remote, beautiful corner of the world, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, perilously close to the epicenter. Modern settlements and tourist resorts were overwhelmed, but something extraordinary happened. Reports filtered through. Some ancient indigenous tribes had survived, a mystery that baffled scientists and captivated the world. How did they know? It wasn't advanced technology or warning systems. There were no sirens, no text message alerts, no television news broadcasts in the deep forests. Their survival owed to something far older, something intuitive, deeply connected to the world around them. Listening to the earth, understanding its subtle language, respecting its immense power. Imagine a string of emerald jewels cast upon a vast turquoise sea. This is the Andaman and Nicobar Archipelago, a chain of over 500 islands scattered across the Bay of Bengal. These islands are a world away from the hustle and bustle of modern life. They are covered in dense, ancient rainforests teeming with unique plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth. Pristine white sand beaches are fringed with mangrove forests, and vibrant coral reefs thrive just below the surface of the crystal-clear water. It is a place of breathtaking beauty, a true paradise that has remained largely untouched by the outside world for centuries. It is in this isolated and enchanting world that we find the Onge tribe. The Onge are one of the most ancient communities of people on our planet. They are believed to be direct descendants of the first humans who migrated out of Africa tens of thousands of years ago. For millennia, they have made their home on the island of Little Andaman, living in complete harmony with the rich natural environment that surrounds them. Their connection to this land is not just a matter of location, it is the very essence of their culture, their spirituality, and their identity. The forest and the sea are not just resources, they are their providers, their guides, and their sacred home. The Onge are a small community, one of several indigenous groups in the Andamans, often referred to as Negrito peoples due to their physical characteristics. They have their own unique language, which is completely unrelated to any other language family in the world, and a rich oral tradition of stories, songs, and knowledge that has been passed down from one generation to the next. Sadly, like many indigenous peoples around the globe, their numbers have dwindled dramatically over the past century due to disease and contact with the outside world. Today, they are a critically endangered group, and their survival is a matter of great concern. Their home on Little Andaman is a world of natural rhythms. The changing of the seasons, the coming of the monsoon, the ebb and flow of the tides. These are the markers that shape their lives. They do not live by clocks or calendars, but by the signs given to them by the sun, the moon, the stars, and the behavior of the plants and animals with whom they share their island home. On that fateful morning in December 2004, the day began like any other on Little Andaman Island. The sun rose over the tranquil sea. A warm glow spread over the forest. For the Onge, it was a time for the usual morning activities, preparing for a day of foraging in the jungle, fishing along the coast. The air was calm, the sea placid, no outward sign of the danger racing toward them. In modern settlements, people went about their business, unaware. The world felt safe and normal. But then, something changed. The Onge, tuned to the rhythms of nature, noticed things were not right. It wasn't one dramatic event, but small, subtle cues. Animals started behaving strangely. Birds that normally chattered fell silent. Birds rose in agitated flocks. Insects suddenly ceased their humming. The island seemed to hold its breath. The most alarming sign came from the sea itself. The water behaved in a way they'd never seen. The tide receded unusually fast. A vast seabed was exposed. Fish flapped helplessly on the sand. To outsiders, it might have looked like a chance to collect stranded sea life. For the Onge, it was a clear, terrifying signal. Without hesitation, the Onge acted. No debate, no discussion, they understood. The community gathered their children, they gathered the elderly, they began to move, they abandoned coastal camps, they left belongings behind. They headed for high ground in the dense forest at the island's heart. Their response was swift, decisive, collective. The survival of the Onge was not a matter of luck. It was a testament to their ability to read the ancient language of nature. This language is not written in books or taught in schools. It is learned through a lifetime of observation, through stories passed down from elders, and through an unwavering belief in the wisdom of the natural world. The story of survival on the Andaman Islands on that day is a tale of two starkly different responses, highlighting the gap between modern life and traditional wisdom. In the areas inhabited by settlers, in the areas inhabited by tourists, the response was one of confusion and, tragically, inaction. These communities were equipped with modern infrastructure houses made of concrete and access to communication. However, they were disconnected from the natural environment. When the sea receded, many people were intrigued. Some even walked out onto the newly exposed seabed to collect fish, completely unaware of the mortal danger they were in. For these communities, a warning needed to come from an official source: a siren, a radio broadcast, or a police officer with a loudspeaker. They were accustomed to relying on technology and authority to tell them when they were in danger. On that day, the official warning systems failed. The scientific data about the earthquake did not translate into a timely and effective alert for the people on the ground. By the time anyone understood the true scale of the threat, it was far too late. The towering waves crashed ashore, sweeping away everything and everyone in their path with merciless force. In complete contrast, the response of the Onge was immediate and instinctual. They did not wait for an official order. Their authority was nature itself. Their warning system was the silence of the cicadas and the strange behavior of the ocean. Their evacuation plan was an ancient story etched into their memories. They acted as one cohesive unit, driven by a shared understanding and a deep trust in their traditional knowledge. They knew exactly what to do and where to go, because their ancestors had, in a sense, already lived through this event and passed on the lesson. The outcome could not have been more different. While thousands perished in the modern settlements across the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the entire Onge tribe, all 98 of them at the time, survived without a single casualty. They simply waited on the high ground in the forest as the tsunami ravaged the coastline below them. When the waters finally subsided, they returned to find their coastal camps destroyed, but their community intact. It was a powerful and humbling demonstration that the most sophisticated technology is no substitute for a deep, intuitive understanding of the natural world. The remarkable survival of the Onge tribe is more than a fascinating story. It's a profound lesson for the modern world. In our technologically advanced society, we often feel we've conquered nature. We live in climate-controlled buildings, we travel in metal boxes, we get our food from supermarkets. We've, in many ways, become deaf to the language of the natural world. The Onge remind us we're not separate from nature, but part of it. Our survival may depend on learning to listen again. One of their key lessons is respect. They do not see the environment as mere resources. They see it as a living entity, a provider, a guide, a relationship built on deep, abiding respect. Today, we face climate change, biodiversity loss, increasing extreme weather events. Respect and humility toward Earth are more urgent than ever. We must work with nature, not against it. The Onge teach the power of observation. In our fast-paced lives, we're too busy or distracted to notice small, subtle details around us. We may not notice changing bird migration patterns, the health of insects in our gardens, or subtle shifts in the weather. The Onge survived through keen observation, seeing the world as an interconnected system. By becoming more observant, we can form deeper connections to our local environments and become attuned to their health. Finally, their story reminds us of community and shared knowledge. They survived because they acted together, guided by wisdom passed down through generations. Their survival calls us to value and protect indigenous traditional knowledge, for it holds lessons vital to humanity's future.